First topic in chapter 11 is the concept of business change. So we just got a little definition of that, which we're probably never going to need, but just in case, it's the process of transitioning individual employees, teams, or the whole business to a new state of operation. So the best way to remember this topic is not with a definition, it's with examples. So let's look at Apple. So we could say business change is things like a business changing the products that it sells. So for example, Apple started with desktop computers, then it went to iPhones, and then in the last decade or so, we've had new product streams to sort of diversify the product range, like the iPad, AirPods, and also now Apple TV Plus, which is a subscription service. It could also be changing how or where the product is made. So a long time ago, Apple stopped making products in America. They outsourced that to a supplier called Foxconn in China. So that's totally changed the cost structure of the business and the way it operates. Also, we could say we could change the way employees are managed. So Apple has made that new fancy head office there with all new amenities and so on. And that's going to change the way employees get their work done and how they interact and so on. The other key topic for this little sort of subject is that a business change can be one of two sort of approaches to it. And the first one is reactive, and that is where the business implements change after factors in the environment have caused problems to its performance. So the business continues doing what it's normally doing until a problem occurs. And the strategies we're going to look at for sort of implementing that approach is Lewin's force field theory in the rest of chapter 11. But we can also do a proactive approach to change, and that's where the business implements change before factors in the environment have caused problems to its performance. So rather than doing the same thing until something goes wrong, the business doesn't wait for that to happen. It anticipates the future and will present opportunities or threats and will respond accordingly to them. And the strategies we're going to look at are actually in the next chapter 12, Porter's two approaches. Corporate culture, which we've done, and Sengi's learning organization, which is later in the course. Just to look at some examples, this is Apple's revenue stream. So one of the KPIs we looked at in chapter 10 was sales or revenue. And we can see basically it's been a continual increase in revenue for Apple in the last 15 years. However, there are a couple of periods there where sales have dipped, particularly in 2019. That was a really big deal. So we can look at proactive and reactive changes that Apple's made during that time. So the first one we look at a proactive change is the release of the iPad in 2010. Now the iPhone only came out in 2007. Did we even know that there was a product sort of called a tablet? We didn't really. Apple kind of invented that category and said we're going to release a new product to diversify our product range and create more sales. And at that point in time, sales have been going up. They're not responding to a bad performance. They're just looking at new ways to adapt and change. That's a proactive change. But then we look towards since 2016, we've had a decrease there and also in 2019, and the increases haven't been as big either when they have gone up. And we've also got some reactive changes from Apple, and we're going to look at those particularly in the final sack of the year. But for now, we could say the release of Apple TV Plus, that's a subscription service. So rather than a good, they're offering a service. And why is that being introduced? Well, they've got to diversify. They've probably sold as many iPhones as they'll ever sell in 1 year. Anyone who's ever going to have an iPhone in the world probably already has one. So what they've done is reacted and said, let's have a different type of product we can also sell in Apple TV Plus. Another example would be Apple Music subscriptions too. So there with one business, we've got a good example of the proactive approach and the reactive approach to change.